I got my girl in the city. She be rolling nails when she with me. I got my girl in the city. She be rolling nails when she with me. Yeah, yeah. I got a girl in the city. Then I fell in love with my city.
Whenever people want to build a bigger body, they always go about it doing the wrong thing. People think, oh, I'll need to work on my dumbbell chest press to get a bigger chest. Or maybe I'll need to work on my upper chest, so I'll do a lot of incline work. And maybe I'll do triceps to work on my arms. But what if I told you that they were all wrong? What if I told you that the best way to build your upper body is to work on your back muscles? Having a big back can give you that classic Arnold Schwarzenegger V-tapered look. Now the back is made up of 3 primary muscles, the biggest one being the latissimus dorsi. This is the muscle you'll feel activated whenever you do pull-ups or pull-downs or cable rows. The latissimus dorsi is also what's responsible for your back's width, giving you that illusion with a wide back and a narrow waist. So then what are the best exercises to grow your latissimus dorsi? Well, that's where we turn to science. Specifically, we turn to a 2000 study done by Bowick, Behrens, and Buskey that tested what's called EMG data in 22-year-old fit males. Now you might be wondering, what does EMG mean? Well, great question, Nick. EMG data, or what's known as electromyography, is just a way scientists can measure muscle activation or the stimulus that occurs in muscles. Hey, put a shirt on, weirdo! Hey, shut up, I'm trying to film! Scientists recorded the EMG data of 7 exercises and expressed them as a percentage relative to lat pull-downs to the neck. Upon further review of the list, we can see that lat pull-downs were the top 2. Specifically, number 1 was underhanded narrow grip pull-downs. And as you can see from the chart here, the narrow grip underhands in blue compared to the normal wide grip in red, and it would beat it out just by a hair in terms of muscle activation in the latissimus dorsi or the lats. I was a little surprised to see that underhanded pull downs actually achieved the most muscle activation, but then when I went and performed them, I quickly realized that the underhanded supinated meaning underhanded basically grip, that you can actually pull the bar down closer to your lats and get a deeper stretch because of the range of motion using a underhanded pull down. Now, that's not to say that the normal with grip pull downs are necessarily an inferior movement. I feel like a lot of it is indicative for the individual. So if you feel it more in your lats doing a normal grip pull down as opposed to an underhand, I would continue to do it in a way that feels better for you. Alright, and next, as you can see, an underhanded dumbbell row actually came in with higher muscle activation rates. Similar situation to the pull down, I was surprised to see underhanded rows achieve more muscle activation, but then when performing them, again, I noticed I was able to pull my elbows further back into my lats. Alright, coming in toward the bottom of the list, we have the seated cable row. Specifically, they looked at the cable row with a V-bar, and they performed this movement with their arms close to their torso. The seated cable row came in significantly less in terms of EMG activity compared to a lot of the pull downs and dumbbell rows. That's why if I were you, I would stick to keeping rows and lat pull downs and pull-ups toward the beginning of your workout. The study also examined how leaning back when at the bottom portion of the lat pull down can actually activate more muscles in the latissimus dorsi as opposed to standing straight up. Statistically speaking, the researchers found an 11% increase in muscle activation in the lats from this lean back at about, say, 135-degree angle as opposed to just standing. And in my personal opinion, I actually do find more muscle activation when I lean back. But again, it's all what you prefer. So go out there and see which one you think is better. All right, now that we've covered the latissimus dorsi, which is the biggest muscle group in the back, the second biggest muscle group would be the trapezius, or otherwise known as the traps. There's also a third muscle group associated with the back that is called the rhomboids, that is actually located beneath the trapezius, and both the trapezius and rhomboids are associated with back thickness. Alright, now here we have a list of recorded EMG activity in particular parts of the traps. You notice it will only say trapezius. That's because EMG data couldn't be tested using the rhomboids because they are located beneath the traps. So the traps are really the only barometer for measuring the rhomboids. We're going to take a look at the three different aspects of the traps. The first part is the upper traps, so kind of the portion you see that comes over the shoulders, kind of resting on the neck. And the biggest developer of that, as you would expect, is the dumbbell shrug. And the deadlift actually does achieve some trap activation, although, as you can see from this list, the dumbbell shrug achieved the most amount of muscle activation in the upper traps. Next, we'll go over the middle part of the trapezius, and specifically the movements that should be done for it. For all intents and purposes, we'll focus on the top two movements, the first being a machine reverse fly. And when they say internal rotation to 90 degrees, that basically means the angle at which you're pulling is at a 90-degree angle. So that'd be the equivalent of just sitting on, say, a reverse pec deck and just pushing out. When they say internal rotation, they mean keep your hands in a neutral position and then come back out at a 90-degree angle from where you're sitting. Number two being a dumbbell reverse fly, and this is stated at a 90-degree angle. So you can achieve that 90-degree angle in one of two ways. The first way is you can lie flat on a bench and do reverse flies in that sense, so you have your stomach against the pad. The second way, and the way I would prefer to do it, is you stand up and then you bend over at a 90-degree angle and then push out with the dumbbells, also performing a reverse fly movement. So just do whichever one is more comfortable for you and whichever one may be more convenient for you at the time. The third and final mechanism of the traps is the lower part of the trapezius. And you see again, it's kind of this split between dumbbell flies and kind of the machine flies is the top two exercises for these. But the difference here is the number one exercise is a machine reverse fly externally rotated for 120 degrees as opposed to internally rotated for 90. The difference here is external rotation. You turn your hands out, and to achieve that 120 degree angle, ideally you would sit at an obscure angle. Now, unfortunately, I don't think there's many mechanisms that can allow for that kind of movement. For me, it's hard to target a specific area of the trap, whether it be upper, middle, or lower, and they actually found in this same exact study that you can't specifically isolate one area, but these were just particular exercises that helped and achieved more muscle activation in that area. It's not necessarily meaning that if you do this, you will specifically grow that area. It just means that ideally, you will achieve more muscle activation with these exercises in that particular area. So for me, I don't specifically target a portion of the traps. I hit dumbbell shrugs, I do dumbbell reverse flies or a pec deck, and then I also subsequent that with face pulls. Alright guys, it's great to know all of that information about EMG data and which muscles are actually most activated in certain exercises, but then how do you build a program around that? So for me personally, on back day, I've structured it to where I deadlift at the beginning as my strength movement, so I do 3 to 4 sets, anywhere between 3 to 5 reps, to tax more of the central nervous system and to get that muscle adaptation. And then from then on, I switched to underhanded pull downs because that was shown to activate the muscle the most, and I actually feel it more doing underhanded than I do doing wide grip. And then after that, I do dumbbell rows. Specifically me, I don't do underhanded rows with the dumbbell because I don't like the feeling of that. I do the neutral grip, so you just keep your hands in a neutral position like this and just pull through with the elbow. Pretend like there's a rubber band here and you're just pulling it as far back as you can. And then after that, I'll do pull-ups right after my deadlifts, because this same study actually looked at body weight exercises, and they actually showed that underhanded pull-ups were more muscle activators than wide group pull-ups, but I like to switch up the angles. So I'll put it this way, if you were going to do a back day, you should have one overhanded movement, whether it be your pull-ups or your pull-downs, and you should do one underhanded movement, whether it be your pull-ups or your pull-downs. So for me, I do overhanded pull-ups because I'm more difficult and I like to challenge myself, and then I do underhanded pull-downs because of the data that was shown there. And then I end the workout specifically to hit the rear delts and also subsequently the traps. I do dumbbell rows. I do rear delt flies, either with the cable or the pec deck, and that's it. And for me, guys, I've seen phenomenal back development from doing those few exercises, particularly deadlifts and pull-ups and dumbbell rows have helped me out tremendously. So if you're stuck for time on a back day, deadlifts, pull-ups, dumbbell rows is what I would highly recommend. I do greatly appreciate you guys tuning in to this video. I enjoy reading studies and going into the science behind particular lifts and nutrition and how it actually works within the body. So go ahead and subscribe if you guys are new and you want to see more content like this. Give the video a like because that really does help the channel grow and be seen by a larger population. And thanks for stopping by, guys. Hope you have a great day.